Throughout the year, during different periods, there's a tremendous amount of intensity that we deal with as people, as Jews in our community and beyond. And the summer months are generally pretty quiet, even though this past week we of course had the hurricane that came upon us, and thank God we are all safe, even though there are those of us who have had some very serious damage. But for the most part, when we talk about the summer, we talk about slow months. We talk about months which are not full of intensity. And this past Tuesday and Wednesday, we commemorated Rosh Chodesh Elul. And Wednesday morning was the first time that we blew the shofar. Here, the shofar we had not heard since the end of Yom Kippur last year. And all that has passed by since that night, the end of Yom Kippur last year, until Wednesday morning, there's been so much that has happened in all of our lives individually. And that shofar sound reminds us of the nature of the relationship between man and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, between man and God. The sound of that shofar represents, as the Shulchan Aruch tells us, Uru Yeshenim Mishinaschem. Those who are sleeping should wake up from their slumber. It doesn't mean they're sleeping from the summer. It means that they can be sleeping the entire year. But what kind of sleep we're talking about? We're not talking about physical sleep per se. We're talking about spiritual sleep. We're talking about sleep vis-a-vis one's relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, one's relationship with their Judaism, one's relationship with their spirituality. And the shofar represents, once again, the cry for that relationship to now come into full sight. We're now entering a period of time where we spend the entire month thinking about the details of this relationship. And we need to really look no further than this week's parsha to understand even further. And that is, Parshas Shoftim, the pasuk says, Tamim tiyeh im Hashem Elokecha, that a person should be wholehearted with Hashem, their God. And Rashi explains, what does it mean to be wholehearted? Rashi says, don't be like the idolaters who try to look into the future to see what will be in the future. Rather, have trust in Hashem, have faith in God, that the future will be okay. You know, in our times we find that there are so many places in which people are attracted to find out about their future. There are fortune tellers and there are astrologers and people who will sit and tell you pretty much anything about what will happen to you in the future if you want to listen and pay them a couple of dollars. What the Torah is telling us is, don't be concerned about that. Be concerned about today. Live within the moment. Live within the day. If we're too concerned about tomorrow, then we're not only not able to enjoy today, but we're also not able to make the most of each and every day. When we hear that sound of the shofar, it tells us to wake up because Rosh Hashanah is coming, because the day of judgment is coming, but also because it's a day of opportunity, a day in which God comes closer to us. He comes closer into our presence. He's there for us to become closer to Him, and He wants to meet us. But He's looking for us. He's looking for us to make that move towards Him as well, not just His move toward us. That's the sound and the impact of that shofar, the sense of wholeheartedness that we as Jews seek from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, especially during this month. So may we really try in our best effort to ensure that every day this month we focus on something within our own relationship with God that we are able to intensify and that we are able to develop to the next level, so that we'll be preparing for Rosh Hashanah appropriately, and that we'll be able to rekindle the flame of spirituality that is within us, that we felt last Yom Kippur as the shofar was blown and the Yom Kippur ended, and that we heard once again this past Wednesday morning as the shofar sounded again. Thank you for listening. Good Chodesh and good Shabbos.